Welcome to my NHL breakdown for Friday, March 12th. Thank you so much for joining me here on odds.com. We're coming off a winning night, close to a giant winning night. Cashed on the Hurricanes -1 at +115 very easily. Cashed on the Penguins -1.5 at +130 very easily. And we had our Flames -1 at +152. We were up 2-0 going into the third period. The Habs got a goal midway through, and all season we've just not been getting the empty net goals, and it was another situation that we didn't get the big score, didn't get the empty net goal, and pushed on the Flames -1. So 2-0 plus 2.45 units. Been a disappointing season so far, and just been pushing so many -1s. So sitting at 57 and 71, 44.5%. With my average line of +128, I'm only down 6.71 units and ROI -5.24%. But certainly left a lot of money on the table, and it's been extremely frustrating. But I feel like we're capping things sound, and I expect glory today, Friday, March 12th. Let's get to work. 3 games I will be attacking. We start at 8 p.m. Eastern with the Minnesota Wild at home against the Arizona Coyotes. We're at the Xcel Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. Let's just review quickly what's going on with market movement in this spot, because money is coming in on the Minnesota Wild, and I didn't get the best line. I expected to be getting the best line and did not get it. So let's jump in right now and see. So we have this Wild team. Oh, God, we don't even have it here. Sorry, here we go. Wild team opening up at -155. That was the earliest offshore numbers and FanDuel numbers. It's sitting at -170 right now, but it's up to -185 at some books. So a ton of money coming in on the Minnesota Wild, and for good reason. So let's just get this all locked up, and let's make sure. I want my opening line to be from a licensed American legal book like Bet365, and I know it's not an American book, but it's licensed in New Jersey. So Bet365 opened it up at -165. It's now at -170. This total is sitting at 5.5 and juice to the under, but there's been no movement there. It opened under 5.5 -125. It's still there, so you will get rewarded if you take the over 5.5. And the Wild have been playing that type of hockey. The Coyotes have not been. They're playing very conservative road hockey, and I'm not attacking the total at all. I am on the Wild -1. I got a -108. That's with the money line at -165 and the puck line at +145. And I could have got -160 and +150, and I just waited a few minutes too long. I expect Antti Raanta to be back in goal for the Coyotes. He looked very good in the last 2 games against the Avalanche with Darcy Kemper out of the lineup due to injury. Raanta is 4-2-2, 3.39 goals against average, 912 save percentage, 0 shutouts, and he looks excellent. I hope Kaapo Kähkönen will be back in goal. If I see Cam Talbot, I'm going to be extremely upset. 11-4-0 for Kähkönen, 2.19 goals against average, 922 save percentage, 1 shutout. He's clearly showing that he's the number 1 guy there. Just let this go. Who cares that you picked up Cam Talbot in the offseason? It's Kaapo time. Roll with Kähkönen. The Coyotes' power play has been much, much better than it was last year. And couldn't understand why it was so bad last year. They have a nice puck-moving defense. I mean, it probably is the evolution of Chychrun that's really made this power play so dangerous, but they've always had Clayton Keller, Phil Kessel, the type of forwards that you want on the power play, but never really came together until this year. They're hitting at 20.7%. They're penalty killing at 83.3%. The Wild power play has been atrocious. I don't understand why. And imagine what this team would do. They're sitting 15-8-1 if they had a good power play. They're hitting 7.9%, and it makes no sense with Dumba's shot at the point, with Zuccarello and Kirill Kaprizov up front. The point is, what they don't have is that soft-handed puck-moving center. That's what they're missing. And Joel Eriksson-Ek, a first-round pick, sure, in that I believe he came out of that very dominant 2015 draft and like the 20th pick or something like that. But he's not that guy, and they can't seem to find that guy. Let's talk about the Coyotes first. They're coming off splitting 2 games with the Avalanche when they were completely dominated in every aspect except the score. In the first game, they were outshot 35-14 against an Avs team that was missing their best player, Nathan MacKinnon, 2 of their top 4 defensemen in Cale Makar and Bowen Byram, and a depth piece in JT Compher. It was crazy to see them dominate like that. In the second game, MacKinnon came back. The others were still out, and they were outshot even worse, 46-14. Exceptional goaltending from Antti Raanta kept them in it. I've talked about it often, and I don't need to keep hammering this, but the top Coyote forwards are small and easy to play against. Their defense is quality, and it always has been. It always has been. But, Goligoski was a nice pickup. They've always been able to move the puck with Ekman Larson. It's just they've always been nice, but the rise of Jacob Chychrun has changed this defense to make it very strong. The Wild aren't missing their best player and 2 of their top 4 defensemen. They've won 5 straight at home and 3 of 4 overall. They played the Coyotes twice last week, and this is part of the reason why I love this spot. So they play the Coyotes in that first game against Coyotes. We were all over the Wild. Had them on the -1 line. They won easily 5-1. In that next game, we went right back to the well. I really think the size advantage of the of the Minnesota Wild forwards. I mean, they have 5 forwards over 6'2". They have 2 forwards in Bjugstad and Greenway that are 6'6". I just thought that was a huge advantage over this small Coyote group. They were up 2-0 after the first period, and the Coyotes stormed back, scored 5 unanswered. And this Coyotes team has heart. Don't get me wrong. But it was a shocking comeback, and it's fresh in the Minnesota Wild's head. Fresh, that 5 unanswered goals. And I think that really helps us, those of us who are back in the Minnesota Wild. It's just a bad matchup for the Coyotes. They can't instill their will on their opponent. They can't. And the Wild can. The Wild team also has the memory of that Coyote comeback. I think it's a perfect situation. I talk about my love for this team often. Kaprizov, Zuccarello, I feel like they're the missing pieces that this team has been looking for. And I expect them to take out the Coyotes tonight. Simple. Minnesota Wild, -1 at -108. We move on to 9 p.m. Eastern. Ottawa Senators, 9-19-01, 4-13-0 on the road. At the Edmonton Oilers, 17-11-0, 9-8-0 at home. Rogers Place, Edmonton, Alberta. 2 nights ago, we were on the Oilers, -1.5. It was a very easy casher, and I made the mistake of also taking the under. Oilers scored 4 goals in the first 14 minutes. They won 7-1. The under was at -110, so the whole game was a push, and it was a very frustrating push. This total again at 6.5 at -110, and I believe I could double check, but I believe they played each other 5 times, and this is going to be the 6th time they played each other. And that first game was that wild 8-5 game. This last game was a 7-1 game, but the 3 games in between all went under. Let's go to money lines, and there's going to be a ton of money coming in on Edmonton. And we knew it was the perfect – well, we didn't know. We expected it was the perfect spot for Edmonton because it was the second last game of an extended homestand. Now it's the last game of a homestand. And Edmonton opens up at -235. They're now at -240. So you can actually get them between -235 and -260. And money's going to come in on Edmonton all day. They can't go back with Matthew Murray. Well, I should say they can't. Look, it's DJ Smith's decision. He looks these men in the eyes and decides who to believe in and who not to believe in. And they have put their faith in Matthew Murray as number 1 netminder. But Joey Daccord has looked good in 2 limited appearances. I don't know why you wouldn't want to get a fresh goaltender out there. But if it's Matthew Murray, I'm not going to be upset. But Joey Daccord is who I want to have in there. 2.71 goals against average, .913 save percentage. Mike Smith, I expect him to be back in that. If they want to go with Koskinen, I'll be very pleased. But I expect it'll be Smith, 8-2-0, 2.18 goals against average, .927 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Sens power play 14.2%. Their penalty killing 73.7%. Oilers power play 26.6%. And their penalty killing weak, as always, 76.7%. And that's because their defense is weak. So the Ottawa Senators received a rude wake-up call in that 7-1 defeat here 2 nights ago. Sens coach DJ Smith is not going to find that acceptable. It's about work ethic. And you have to out-hustle the opponent. And you have to take the game to them in the first period. He's going to be all over these guys. And Brady Tkachuk, he's a Tkachuk, man. These guys, they don't take losing softly. They fight. They're battlers. They're tough kids. Brady says everyone hates losing, but to get blown out like that, it's infuriating. This is the final game of a 6-game road trip. And I can promise you, they will come out flying. This is a pretty easy, motivating situation for DJ Smith. It's your last game of the road trip, and you got completely destroyed in the last game. You were outscored 4-0 in the first 14 minutes. This team's going to come out flying. Colin White and Ryan Zingle each got hurt during the game, and it looks like they may be actually good to go 2 days later. We'll see. Their best defenseman, Thomas Chabot, looked awful. -3. He Chabot the bed. Draisaitl and McDavid completely dominated. Draisaitl went for 3 goals, 2 assists. McDavid 1 goal, 2 assists. They completely emasculated this Senators team. DJ Smith's going to be all over these guys. He's going to be right in their faces. I expect them to come out with a ton of passion and a lot of fight early. So I'm going to be on them first period. I just haven't decided exactly how. Do I want them? I was very excited to see what the first period plus a half would be. And it's heavily juiced, -135. Money's coming in on the Oilers, and the first period hasn't changed. It's still plus a half at -135. The Ottawa Senators money line first period is +167. The Ottawa Senators first 10 minutes is +150. And I like that. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I'm certainly going to wait because money's going to be coming in on the Oilers all day long. So to the Oilers side of things, Draisaitl and McDavid are spectacular. They're world-class players. They're 2 of the best players easily. And McDavid's probably the best player in the league. Draisaitl is top 6, top 8. But you get past those 2 stars, and this is a very weak team, very weak offense. Their defense, one of the worst groups in the league. They feel very good about themselves after the win 2 days ago. And the Senators are questioning everything. And that's what happens when you take it in the prison pocket on national television, is you question everything. Look, their bottom mouth is sore, and they are angry. And they're going to come out flying. So, and I also, you take Draisaitl and McDavid off of this team. And I know the Ottawa Senators are a terrible hockey team, but I'd rather have the Ottawa Senators forward group than the Oilers forward group after McDavid and Draisaitl. Obviously, if you include McDavid and Draisaitl, you want the Oilers forward group. So that's what I'm on, and I haven't moved yet, and I'm going to wait. Ottawa Senators, either first period or first 10 minutes. We'll see how the day unfolds. Then, 9 p.m. Eastern, my final game on the card, the Kings. 11-8-6, 7-5-2 at Colorado Avalanche, 14-8-2, 7-4-1 at home. We're at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. This Kings squad opened up as +175 dogs. They're now +185, and it's going up fast. The leading indicator books say this is going to be a +200 soon. Colorado opened up as -210 favorites, and now -225. It's shocking to me. It's shocking that I should have waited. I really thought getting on this right away. I can't understand how Avalanche could be back like this without 2 of their top 4 defensemen. From a total standpoint, it's sitting at 5.5. It's slightly juiced to the over, and even that surprises me. I expect Troy Grosnick to be back in goal, and we backed him on Wednesday. This is when a third stringer or fourth stringer come in, it's not an automatic fade, and it should never be. It just requires study. And here we had Grosnick, a 31-year-old journeyman undrafted who had a really good college career. Was a older goaltender at that point, so didn't get drafted after some really nice years in college ranks. And he quietly was improving in the AHL year after year after year. He got a little cup of coffee in 2014-15. One of the reasons why it was quite easy to back him was he had an incredible debut for the Sharks. Incredible. I mean, he had a shutout in his debut. So you could tell that he could handle the pressure. Then he has 6.5 years between starts, 183 starts in the NHL, 183 starts in the AHL before getting another opportunity. You could tell that he'd earned this spot and was going to step up. You could also get a feel for the other players watching this guy fight to get an opportunity in the NHL. You knew they were going to play hard for him. Now, we have Johnny Quick hurt, and we have Calvin Peterson in COVID protocol. All this adds up to another start for Grosnick. What could happen here is Matt Villalta, their 21-year-old 2017 third-round pick, could get a chance to start. And if he is, I'll be very angry, and we'll try to hedge somehow. Philip Grubauer, going to be in goal for the Avalanche. 13-7-0, 2.05 goals against, 79-17 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Kings special teams being excellent this year. 27.5% power play, 83.1% penalty killing. Avs special teams have been good. Their power play has not been very good, and it's gotten worse with Cale Makar out of the lineup and Bowen Byram. 22.3% power play, 85.9% penalty killing. Kings have won 2 of 3. We were all over them on Wednesday, and they paid out easily. Anze Kopitar scored another goal to keep his scoring streak alive. He's rolling. Adrian Kempe, Alex Iafallo are now stepping up and providing secondary scoring. This is a very live dog against the Avalanche tonight. Doughty playing the best hockey he's played in a few years. Dustin Brown stepping up. This is the best the Kings have felt about themselves in a long time. The Avalanche got Nathan McKinnon back from injury and completely dominated the Coyotes in every aspect but the scoreboard. They outshot the Yotes 46-14 in that second game and needed overtime to get the win. They outshot them 36-14 in the first game and lost. It's a much different offense when you don't have Cale Makar and Bowen Byram. And the first thing you don't get those outlet passes. These are offensive-minded and smart defensemen that know exactly when to look for the outlet pass. They also know exactly when to pinch. So you're not getting those opportunities. And then you take Makar off the power play. He's the quarterback of that power play. Well, it's a completely different offense, and they remain on injured reserve. They will not be in the lineup tonight. That's been confirmed. And I have no higher ROI in all of gambling than when I fade a team missing 2 of their top 4 defensemen. So, look, I love the Avalanche. You guys know that. I've got futures on the Avalanche. They're a very good team, great depth. I think Bednar's a good coach, maybe a great coach. We'll see how they do in the playoffs this year. But seeing them as this big of a favorite is nuts. Absolutely nuts to me. And that money's coming in on the Avalanche, nuts. Kings are very live dog. So that's my action here. I'm on the Wild -1 and -108. I'm on the Kings at +180. Just see exactly what I would get right now with the Kings if I had waited and been patient. +185, so it's 5 cents. I'm going to move on the Senators out of their first 10 minutes. I'd like to bet them first period, but if I don't have the balls, if they start shrinking as soon as I start planning on betting them, then I'll take them first 10 minutes, but I will be taking them. And then I close up shop with Kings +180. There we go. A good winning night last night. Let's follow that up with another winning night and get the weekend started right. Thank you guys so much for supporting me here on odds.com, supporting our NHL show. Well, we need to support the likes and the subscribers. It's so important. It's paramount for me to focus my energy on NHL, which is something I really love doing. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting this NHL show. Let's get paid in full. Let's get that cash. Hey, Los bookmakers. Let's go, baby. Let's go.